I'm Tom McBride. I'm the current president of the Topeka High School Historical Society. And it's a special day when we can honor people who have really helped Topeka High School throughout the years. And so to honor the 2014 inductees of Topeka High School Graduate Hall of Fame, this is an amazing crowd as far as I'm concerned. It's and in a beautiful room, and you know, the high school is just it's really something special, and so this really kind of is a climax day for that. So I'd like to recognize some guests that are joining us today, and just please stand if you're a member of the following groups: former inductees of Topeka High School Graduate Hall of Fame. Any members of the Topeka Board of Education? Oh, it's a Sunday, yeah. Former and current Topeka High School faculty and staff. And then the 2014 Topeka High School Historical Society Board of Directors. Please stand as the Topeka High School Marine Junior ROTC Color Guard posts the colors.
Color guard. Hold. Post.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Present. Arms.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arm.
Whoop. You weren't supposed to see that. It is a special pleasure to have the Topeka High School Madrigals, conducted by Steve Eubank, perform for us.
We have an ensemble today from the Madrigals to sing for you. Yesterday we were at the Renaissance Festival doing a wonderful job. And before I forget, hi Ted. See you back there. Anyway, it's great to see all these familiar faces. We're going to do two numbers for you, and our student director, Skylar Flax, will introduce.
Hello, our first selection is a piece written by Topeka High School alumnus Patrick DeTomo. It is about a peeping Tom who comes across a beautiful woman bathing, only to go home and dream about it. This is Beauty Sat Bathing.
Beauty sat bathing by a spring where fairy shades did hide her. The winds blew calm, the birds did sing, the cool streams ran beside her. My wanton thoughts enticed mine eyes to see what was forbidden. But better memories set by, so vain desire was chid. Fa la 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 la. Into a slumber then I fell when fond imagination seemed to see but could not tell her feature or her station. But even as babes in dreams do smile, as sometimes fall a-weeping, but I awake as wise as when I fell a-sleeping. Fa-la-la-la, 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 fa-la-la-la-la, la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la,
This next piece is a Hungarian tune about a dance in which the young men invite the young women to dance. This is Tombor.
Tombor, 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 Sweetheart, come along with me to the music so enchanting, gay and lively melodies, it will set your feet a-dancing. Oh, come to the dance, oh, come to the singing, oh, come to the dance. Boom, the bass is booming, zumba zoom, boom. 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 The bass is booming, zumba zoom. Dance and turn to the music, lively step and toss to the measures right. More and more and more and more, never end. Music, lively step and toss, measures sprightly, never ending, never end, never ending. Gracefully, like a gently swaying flower, heaven sent you to be mine, you're never quite so dour. Your sweet face does my heart beguile, you are more fair when your blushing smile roses fresh in a garden. Your sweet face does my heart beguile, you are more fair when your blushing smile roses fresh in a garden. A tambor, come aboard, tambor, dorian, dori, hark to the side. Oh, hark to the side, hark to the side. Darling, be my true love, joy is ours forever. Other strings come to court and will you be mine only, my one, not true, and joy will last me forever. Joy, joy, joy will last me forever. Joy, joy, joy will be ours forever. Other strings come to court and will you be mine only, not true, and forever.
Thank you very much. It's kind of hard to believe that some of us were that age at one time. When they had magical tryouts my senior year, they wouldn't even let me on the same floor that they were trying out for this. Thank you very much. Now, the person that really heads up the school and kind of corrals all these wonderful events together and has done just a marvelous job in connecting us as the Historical Society with the school is Dr. Linda Wiley.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to welcome you here this afternoon at Topeka High School for our annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We gather today to recognize and honor our distinguished alumni and former staff members. These honorees, either in their role as a student at Topeka High or as a staff member, gave great things to our school while also gaining much from their years in the halls of Troy. And like our honorees today, Topeka High students continue to excel under the tutelage of our excellent faculty and staff. I am confident that our students will continue to graduate from Topeka High School ready to change the world, just like our distinguished alumni today. So on behalf of the students, faculty, and staff of Topeka High School, I'd like to congratulate our inductees and recognize them for their distinguished honor as graduates of Topeka High, and our staff, distinguished staff who have made a contribution and set the bar high for the rest of us. So hoy hoy, mighty Troy.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Doug Wallace now. Doug is from the class of 1965 and founding member of the Historical Society. He is a Hall of Fame inductee and noted Topeka High and Topeka historian. And we've learned a lot. Oh yeah, I was going to say it, but come on, Doug. Doug Wallace.
Thank you, President McBride and Dr. Wiley and our honored guests. There are few things more universal in America than the high school. Nearly everyone who grows up into adulthood attended one, be it public, private, or parochial. A modern rite of passage now more than a century and a half old. Likewise, perhaps better than most institutions, the high school defined and defines American values and culture. The good plus the bad. As well, any high school is a community unto itself, and its architecture reflects upon the people who created it. For that reason, especially during the 1920s, civic leaders demanded the best in design and utility for their schools. Alongside the county courthouse, the city hall, the federal building, and the library, high schools represented the city to the world. As well as any, Topeka High School typifies this unique American educational entity. For those reasons, to ensure the preservation of our heritage, the Topeka High School Historical Society was formed in 1985. And for nearly a quarter century now, the THS has been involved or has overseen the annual Hall of Fame ceremony. None of our efforts could have been successful without the support and commitment of the Topeka High community, the administration, faculty, staff, student body, and alumni. I remember Ed Love, myself, and several other Trojans meeting on a Saturday morning in early summer of 1985 in the Cavalier Room downstairs, discussing with Principal Ned Nussbaum and Associate Principal Dick Patterson about the organization of a historical society. Everything went very well. But as we were getting ready to leave, Dick said something that startled me, even sort of threw me for a loop. Very simply, he asked, "Would you like to see your office?" Office? What office? Were we getting an office? What we had expected in organizing the Topeka High Historical Society, that any such thing as an office would be held at the society president's home, not in the school building itself. It has been such ever since with the Topeka High School Historical Society. One of the pleasures of serving on its board has been working with the different THS administrations. Ned Nussbaum, Patty Pressman, Clardy Vinson, and now Linda Wiley. We and Topeka High have been very, very fortunate. It's also exciting to see change in the school, but equally exciting how much endures. Troy is tradition, stated the 1962 Sunflower, the old fused with the new, the spirit of generations of loyal graduates hovering over today's student body. And it's true today as well as 40 years ago. But a couple of last comments that I have to mention about Dick Patterson, seated far to my right. Sorry about that, Dick. He grew up, which will be noted later on, he grew up on the old Cripey farm, east of town in Tecumseh Township, just across the lane from where my family grew up. But even more significantly, he has been what I think principal or vice principal of every damned high school in northeast Kansas. Now, well, seriously, he could keep a job. Everybody, that's why he's been around so much. Everyone wanted and needed him. But I do have to remind Dick one thing. Yes, you were principal of Lawrence High School. Yeah. Boo hiss. You were principal of Lawrence High School, but you were here first. Always remember that. Thank you very much.
Adding on to that, my senior year in high school, Dick was doing his student teaching here. And was my student teacher in gym class. We got along great. I would like to now introduce Judy Soul, another former inductee, class of 1958, who will present the honorees.
Our first honoree is Carl Nesman. Carl graduated from Topeka High School in 1948. As a Trojan, Carl was active in basketball, intramurals, and track. His father, Loren Nesman, was a Topeka High School industrial arts teacher. Loren told Carl that even though he wanted to go to college, he should also know a trade. So Carl studied vocational electricity along with his college preparatory courses. It was while he was a student at Topeka High School that he met his wife, Jan, a member of the class of 1949. They both attended Kansas State University and were married in 1952. In 1953, Carl graduated from Kansas State University with a major in agricultural engineering and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force. He worked 2 months for David Bradley Manufacturing Works in Illinois, designing a power rotary tiller for their garden tractor before reporting to active duty and flight training. Upon receiving his pilot wings, Carl was transferred to Vance Air Force Base for B-26 flight training. After completing this training, he was stationed at Reese Air Force Base near Lubbock, Texas, as a flight instructor, where he was appointed squadron adjutant and later pre-cadet detachment commander. Upon his discharge from the Air Force in 1956, Carl and his wife Jan returned to the Topeka area and moved to a farm east of Silver Lake, where he began his professional career with the Division of Water Resources of the Kansas State Board of Agriculture. Carl was selected to be the technical representative of the Attorney General to go to Phoenix, Arizona in 1961 to help model the Equisbeds Aquifer by the U.S. Geological Survey, which was involved in the City of Wichita's lawsuit over water rights. Here, Carl used his background in vocational electricity to develop an improved system to model groundwater aquifers. His first model was of the Kansas River Valley here in Topeka to verify whether the annual quantity of water requested by the Goodyear plant was available from the aquifer. He was the first to model the Ogallala Aquifer, which has been in the news recently. In 1966, Carl earned a master's degree in water resources engineering from the University of Kansas. Upon completion of his degree, he was hired by Lane Western Company in Kansas City with 6 offices, locations in 6 states. While employed by Lane, he conducted numerous water well pumping tests, aquifer modeling projects, well field design and construction for numerous cities and companies throughout the United States and some foreign countries. He has provided foundation dewatering design for numerous construction projects and provided expert testimony on a variety of hydrologic issues. After 30 years, he retired as Chief Hydrologist Engineer for Lane Christian Company, which then had 25 offices in 30 states and 5 foreign countries. Carl continues to be active in his profession as a consulting engineer. He's also a certified hydrogeologist by the American Institute of Hydrology. Carl is inventor and co-inventor of several important inventions used in the treatment of groundwater. He's also co-inventor of a patent pump intake strainer for use on the emergency core cooling system of nuclear power plants and used in other water resource applications. Carl has published and co-authored several books, handbooks, and technical papers and reports on groundwater. The names of these are far too technical for me to understand, so if you don't mind, I'll refrain from reading them all to you. But it's fair to say that Carl's work seems especially valuable, since many scientists now say that our next natural resource shortage will be water. Carl is a life member of the American Society of Biological and Agricultural Engineers, the American Society of Civil Engineers, the American Institute of Hydrology, the American Water Works Association, the National Groundwater Association, and both the National and Kansas Societies of Professional Engineers. For his outstanding work as a hydrologist and professional engineer, Carl has been inducted into the Kansas State University Engineering Hall of Fame, which represents the top 1% of the university's engineering graduates. Carl is active in First Methodist Church and serves as chairman of the Shepherd Center of Topeka. Carl and his late wife, Jan, a Washburn University professor, have always felt strongly about the importance of education. They have given their support and donated generously to both Kansas State University and Washburn University. They will leave a legacy that will help many future students achieve their dream of a college education. Dr. Wiley, it is my honor and privilege to present Carl Nesman for induction into the Topeka High School Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Topeka High School Historical Society, for this magnificent honor to be inducted in this Hall of Fame. Thank you to former Hall of Fame inductees, my family, and friends for even attending today. Unknown to most of you, I was somewhat of a non-traditional student at Topeka High, because when I was in Boswell Junior High, my father, the teacher here, wanted me to have a trade before attending college. I was a Depression baby, and jobs were hard to find in those early days. So I took vocational electricity to become an electrician, and however, in the spring of '48, I applied for a scholarship at the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut. And even though I had very good grades, I was turned down because I was a half unit short of their minimum GED requirements. So Dad was right.
I needed to go back to Topeka High School in the fall of '48 while my class went on to college or joined the workforce. And the class of '49 really didn't know that I had already graduated from school. I took chemistry from Mr. Ellithorpe. I took mechanical drawing from John Hayner, the auditorium has been named after. I took advanced mathematics from Bernice Boyles. I took advanced English from Carmi Wolf. And I took typing from Emmett Fink, the father of Paul Fink, my classmate, and also radio broadcasting, because we didn't have television in those days. It was during that semester that I started dating a rather tall, gangly girl named Janet Steck that I would marry 3 years later while at Kansas State. The education I received at Topeka High School was the basics that allowed me to be successful in my professional career. I thank you, Topeka High, for such an excellent education I received.
James Barton Phelps was a member of the first class to go through the new Topeka High School, and he graduated in 1934. During his years as a Trojan, Barton was active in debate, the National Forensics League, Thespians, High Y, and he was the news editor of The World. He was a student council officer and a cast member of several plays. After graduating from Topeka High School, Barton earned a Bachelor of Arts degree with honors from the University of Chicago in 1937 and a law degree from Harvard Law School, also with honors, in 1940. He joined the law firm of Morrison, Holford, Forrester, Schuman, and Clark in San Francisco, but his legal career was immediately interrupted by his service in the United States Navy. He served in naval intelligence in San Francisco for 2 years, followed by 2 years as a communication officer on the USS Charles J. Kimball. Barton saw action in the Mediterranean Sicily campaign and the Southwestern Pacific. He earned 3 battle stars. In 1945, he was assigned to the legal offices on Treasure Island. When the war ended, he was discharged as a lieutenant commander. After the war, Barton returned to his legal practice at the Morrison office. In 1949, he became a special deputy district attorney in the office of Edmund G. Brown, district attorney of the city and county of San Francisco. In 1952, he returned to private practice, specializing in the defense of civil suits. Barton served as president of the Barristers Club of San Francisco and was one of the incorporators of the Bar Association of San Francisco. He was a lecturer on trial practice and civil procedure for California State Bar courses and was founder and president of the Associated Defense Council of Northern California. He was co-chairman of the City Planning Committee and made the first recommendation of an acceptable route for BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit System. He was also active in many non-legal community organizations, which included the Cardiac Therapy Foundation of Palo Alto, the Marionette Mental Health Organization, and the Stanford University Hospital Board of Directors. In 1970, Barton was appointed judge of the Municipal Court of Palo Alto by Governor Ronald Reagan. In 1972, Governor Reagan appointed him to the Superior Court in San Jose. He remained there unopposed through 3 elections until he retired in 1985 and opened his own office for arbitration and resolution disputes. He also served as a Superior Court judge pro tem with a full staff and courtroom facilities. He was the first attorney in Northern California to serve in this capacity. The major part of his time was spent on the Intel AMD arbitration, which consumed 352 trial days and concluded 5 years later when the California Supreme Court affirmed his award in favor of AMD. During this time, he also served on the executive committee of the California Judges Association. He continued his practice as a private judge until he retired once again in 2004. In his comments about his professional career, which obviously was very outstanding, he states that it was through his legal work that he was able to put the values of his Topeka High School education into practice in the larger world. Barton is the son of the late Barton P. Phelps, who was instrumental in obtaining the original Constitution spar for the Topeka High School flag plaza. Barton is still active in the Bohemian Club of San Francisco, the San Francisco Fly Casting Club, Stanford Continuing Education, 2 book clubs, and a cardiac care exercise class, which he has attended 3 days a week for 22 years. Barton is married to Jeanette Boyd. He has 2 children, Barton and Nancy, and 1 stepson, Patrick, 3 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. He reports that he still drives, has lunch with friends, stays current, and enjoys a scotch at night. He says that he's in excellent health for a guy 96. However, he does not travel anymore, so was not able to attend this ceremony. Dr. Wiley, it's my honor and privilege to present James Barton Phelps for induction into the Topeka High School Hall of Fame. His good friend Bob Taggart will be accepting the award for him.
With his physical explanation, I don't know why he couldn't be here. These are his comments, and it's my pleasure to present them. 83 years ago in September 1931, I walked through the doors of this just completed building as a 14-year-old sophomore, and in June of 1934, 3 years later, I walked across the stage for our graduation exercises to receive my diploma as a member of the first class to receive an entire high school education in this building. No longer the shy 14-year-old with a king-size inferiority complex who had entered 3 years before, I was graduating as a more confident young man who was headed to the University of Chicago with a valuable scholarship in which would enable me to complete my undergraduate degree in 3 years and then head to Harvard Law School. What made all this possible, other than maybe some degree of natural aptitude, was my educational experience at Topeka High School, and particularly the encouragement of a history teacher named Annabelle Pringle, who pointed the way forward to the scholarship in Chicago. Then too, there was a lift from the excitement of entering this lovely new educational building, a brand new building, then much as the same as it is today. We had been well prepared for it. There had been guided tours for the public. Our parents had been briefed in evening meetings, and if memory serves me correctly, we had a walk through, meet the teacher half day, and found our lockers, found our homeroom, which was to be the base of our operation for the next 3 years. Some older students were appointed hall proctors who spent their study hall hour at chairs located strategically points in the hall to guide students and keep order in the halls. The school was physically ready for us, but there had been a lot of staff work and summer accomplishments this to this. I point all this out to illustrate that not only did we enter a magnificent new building that September, we entered one that was ready for us in all respects. I don't remember a single glitch. There was no student parking, but that was okay. Nobody I knew had a car. Couldn't afford it. This was the bottom of the Great Depression. Let me emphasize this point. Can you imagine what high school life would be like today if no one, and I mean no one, had a car? We got to school on foot, or maybe a bicycle or the city bus, and sometimes our parents. After school, I walked home or took the bus in the wintertime. Unlike today, our high school experience was for just 3 years. As I remember, it was the school day consisted of 6 one-hour periods, 5 for academics and 1 for study hall, plus lunch. Extracurricular activities were carried on after school. All this, however, was subordinate to the educational experience of these 3 wonderful years. I don't remember the name of my math teacher, but she led me through quadratics and made it fun. Ditto for my teachers of physics, who led us through the laws of motion and made physics so much fun. I am kind of a junkie follower of the development of the theories of particular physics every day. But it was in the social science, where I met the teachers who had most influenced my life. Ethel Frizzell in government, Maud Bishop and Annabelle Pringle in history, Carmi Wolf and Ruth Hunt in English and journalism. Miss Hunt particularly disciplined my better writing instincts and would not put up with sloppy syntax. She had a thing about the word very. It adds nothing to the noun or verb, she said, so don't use it. And she's right. She allowed only 2 varies a semester. And to this day, I have a guilty conscience when I review something I have written and find I have breached her rule about the word vary as an adjective or an adverb. My friends, I never in the world expected to be so honored as to be inducted into the Topeka High School Hall of Fame. But the credit for this honor properly belongs to 2 entities. First, the members of the Topeka High Board of Education in 1929 to 31, who saw the need for a new high school and who, in the darkest pits of the Depression, gave us this lovely building. And next to the teachers and staff of the high school, who realized that if the young people of Topeka were to have a future in those dark times, they needed a good education. They organized and produced our future, the best high school education then available. To them, my thanks are infinite, and those thanks undiluted by intervening 83 years extend today to those of you who have honored me by the induction into the Topeka High School Hall of Fame.
They opened their first shoe store and named it Payless Shoes. This concept allowed customers to self-select merchandise that was both fashionable and affordable. Shell and Lewis were truly pioneers by changing footwear retailing in America. In 1962, Payless went public on the NASDAQ under the name Volume Shoe Corporation. Volume Shoe grew into the nation's largest chain of retail shoe stores. In 1979, with close to 900 shoe stores, Volume Shoe merged with the May department stores. Shell continued the company, retiring in 1985 and moving to Tucson, Arizona. honors as a pilot in command. He and his son Mitchell flew a small twin-engine airplane from Topeka to Tel Aviv in 1976, realizing his lifelong dream of flying over the North Atlantic. Shell was an ardent Zionist who spent much of his adult life working to ensure Israel would survive and prosper. From his position as an executive board member of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee to his board position at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, Shell was always trying to encourage good relations between America and Israel. Shell personally accompanied many United States senators and congressmen on their first trip to Israel. Shell and his wife Evie were generous with their time and money. With Lewis and his wife Ruth Ann and his charitable partners, he was able to help shape the communities and organizations that he was passionate about. Topeka was a major beneficiary of his generosity, examples of which are the Poses Educational Center at Stormont Vale Hospital, the Poses Hall at Washburn University, and the Abe and Gertrude Poses Sanctuary at Temple Beth Shalom. Scholl was also a committed community leader, serving on the boards of several charitable organizations and several businesses. After retiring to Arizona, Shell became very involved in many organizations, including the University of Arizona, the Pima Air and Space Museum, and numerous Jewish organizations. It is fair to say that Shell and his wife made a huge difference in the Tucson community. Shell, however, was modest about his accomplishments and never wanted recognition for the good deeds he did. He felt obligated to leave the world a better place, and he hoped that his example would encourage others to follow. Shell and his wife Evie raised 4 children, Melanie, William, Shelley, and Mitchell. He was a wonderful father and grandfather to 5 grandchildren who all live in Tucson. Sadly, in 1999, at the age of 74, Shell passed away after a very brief illness. He left a tremendous legacy that continues to this day. Through the Shell and Evelyn Poses Philanthropic Fund at the Jewish Community Foundation of Southern Arizona, many organizations will benefit from his generosity in perpetuity. In a supporting letter, Tim Clothier stated that Shell truly is a shining example of the strength, vitality, innovation, and courage that graduates of Topeka High School have offered our community and nation these many years. Dr. Wiley, it's my honor and privilege to present Shell Lee Poses for induction into the Topeka High School Hall of Fame. His son, Mitchell Poses, will be accepting the award.
President McBride and Dr. Wiley and members of the Topeka High School Historical Society, I want to thank you on behalf of our entire family. My 2 sisters have joined me today, Melanie and Shelley. My father's younger sister, Marcia Poses Kurtz, and my father's younger brother, Jerry Poses, are here from Fort Worth, Texas. We're thrilled to be here today, and although, as they pointed out, my father probably wouldn't have liked this recognition. We all agreed that it was well-deserved. Topeka High School was his basis of education. He completed 1 year of college before he went into the service, and he spoke highly of what he gained here at Topeka High, and we are thrilled to be here and accept on behalf of my father, this honor, and thank you very much.
Each year, we recognize one or more outstanding Topeka High School staff members. These honorees are selected by the Topeka High School Hall of Fame Committee. Their names and pictures are placed on a plaque outside the Historical Society office in the main hall on the second floor. So I hope you will stop and take a look at that plaque. This year, we are recognizing 2 former Topeka High School staff members. The first is Larry Leonard. When I asked Larry for a resume for this occasion, he asked if it would be okay if he made up some stuff. I said it would be all right, since I knew anything he made up would be very entertaining. I feel pretty confident, however, that the information I'm going to present is really the truth. Larry grew up in Valley Falls and in 1966 graduated with honors from Emporia State University with the Bachelor of Science in Education degree. He majored in Russian and German. While at Emporia, he was on the track and field team and was a member of Blue Key National Honor Fraternity. He then attended the University of Wisconsin on a graduate fellowship and taught high school German for a year. In 1972, he earned a Master of Arts degree in Russian language and literature from Kansas University. During all of this time, he also served in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserves. Larry began teaching Russian at Topeka High School in 1974 and continued the program for 31 years, retiring in 2005. He offered 4 levels of Russian language instruction and also taught sophomore literature, world literature, 9th grade social studies, Western civilization, international business, German, and AP European history. Larry directed the Topeka High School exchange program with Kharkiv, Ukraine, for 8 years. He traveled with and directed the Topeka High School Russian students in Kharkiv. He taught English to various levels of Kharkiv students and adults and was guest lecturer at the University of Kharkiv and the Aeronautical Institute in Kharkiv. He arranged and coordinated the hosting of teachers and students from Kharkiv, Ukraine, to Topeka High School. During his visits to Kharkiv, he was interviewed on Radio Ukraine and television stations in Kharkiv, Moscow, and Siberia. In 1977, he participated in an international research and exchange summer language grant for study at Moscow State University. From 1992 through 1994, he participated in the University of Texas and Moscow Linguistics Institute Russian Language Teachers Program. He participated in the University of Kansas School Curriculum Projects, St. Petersburg, the Cold War, and Siberia. In 1998, he traveled to Siberia on a summer Fulbright program. In 2002, he participated in the University of Indiana World Cultures Program. He was co-founder of the Central Association of Russian Teachers of America. He served this organization as vice president for 7 years and was awarded the organization's Outstanding Teacher Award. In 2010, he was recognized by the Russian Ministry of Culture and the Russian Embassy for contribution to the study of Russian language and culture in the United States. For 5 years, Larry served as the 501 District Coordinating Teacher for Foreign Language. But luckily for his students, Larry returned to full-time teaching in 1995. Because of Larry, Topeka High School was extremely fortunate to be able to offer the Russian language to our students. In addition to benefiting from Larry's academic excellence, his students and colleagues always enjoyed Larry's unique and never-ending sense of humor. Larry has been married for 48 years to his wife, Carol, who is also a retired teacher. His son, Jeff, and daughter, Kristen, are both graduates of Topeka High School. He's a proud grandfather of 5 grandchildren, Sam, Silas, Selah, Gretchen, and Gabriel. Dr. Wiley, it is my honor and privilege to recognize Larry Leonard for the Topeka High School Distinguished Staff Award.
When I was growing up in the little town of Valley Falls, I had a cousin who attended Topeka High. My brothers and I used to irritate her and annoy her. Sometimes she even cried. Who knew that I'd have a career of that here at Topeka High for 31 years? I'd like to thank the Historical Society, Topeka High, the staff. I'd also like to give a special thanks to my family, my wife, who's tolerated me for almost 48 years now without violence. Things that people often ask me, do you miss teaching? I've been retired for 10 years. And I used to say no, but actually I do miss teaching. I miss the staff, I miss the administration, I miss the students. And when I first retired, I sort of felt, well, there's this warm feeling. You think about the students you had and so on, and you get to feeling good about yourself. But one evening I was walking across the parking lot in Walmart. No, I wasn't going to look for a job as a greeter. And a former student of mine, well, she wouldn't win the Nobel Prize, but she shouted out, "Hey, Mr. Leonard, how's it feel to be retarded now?" Now, I think she misspoke. My family often says no, she got it right. But that sort of put things in proper perspective. Things I do miss about Topeka High, as I mentioned, the staff, the wonderful relationships, the secretaries, the custodial staff, and I also miss the cinnamon rolls. I estimate in 31 years I likely ate over 1,000 of them. But here, just a few weeks ago, we were discussing Halloween costumes. And asking my 3-year-old granddaughter, what she was going to wear, for what she was going to be for Halloween. And she's going to be a princess. Her little brother's going to be a frog. And then I asked, well, what should I be? And Gretchen looked at me and said, well, Grandpa, I think you can be a sad old man. Well, thanks to this wonderful ceremony today, I'm a happy old man. Thank you.
Dick Patterson grew up in Topeka and graduated from Highland Park High School. We will forgive him for that. He graduated from Washburn University with a Bachelor of Education degree in 1962 and from Kansas University in 1974 with a Master of Science degree majoring in Physical Education and Administration. He began his impressive career in education as a teacher and coach in a junior high school in McLouth, Kansas. From there, he moved to the Topeka School District as a teacher and coach at Curtis Junior High School. In 1967, he began his long association with Topeka High School. For 2 years, he taught math, biology, and physical education and was head coach of the Topeka High School wrestling team, which won the league and district championship. He left Topeka High School for 1 year for what might be called a sabbatical to help in the organization and opening of a new high school, Shawnee Mission Northwest. He then returned to Topeka High School and from 1970 to 1975 was a math teacher and head football coach. During this time, he formed the Topeka High School Booster Club to promote parental involvement in all of the school's activities. In 1975, he accepted a position as vice principal at Washburn Rural High School. He had many administrative responsibilities, which included improving the educational climate of the school and implementing consistent discipline policies. After 7 years at Washburn Rural, he was drawn back to Topeka High School, where he served 10 years as the associate principal. He was in charge of developing and improving the master schedule to help students achieve maximum academic success. He designed and initiated early enrollment, thereby streamlining the August enrollment process. He was always encouraging students and staff to grow in interpersonal relationships as well as in the area of academics. He implemented high standards of discipline, which helped to lower the dropout rate and improve the public relations image of the school. In 1994, Dick retired for the first time. But real retirement was not really a part of Dick's future. He took a position as assistant principal of Lawrence High School and in 1997 became principal. During this time, he was directly responsible for helping Lawrence make a smooth transition from a 1 high school community to a 2 high school community as the new Free State High School was opened. Lawrence High School changed from a school of 2,000 students to an enrollment of 1,300 students. Dick was very successful in helping to preserve traditions and to provide an educational setting conducive to academic achievement for all students. Dick was responsible for developing and implementing a program that more than doubled the number of students taking advanced placement tests. In 2001, Lawrence High School was recognized as a College Board school. In 2003, Dick retired again, but not really. He took a position as principal of the Washburn Rural Alternative High School, and during his 2 years in this position, he facilitated the mainstreaming of at-risk students and helped to increase their enrollment and graduation rate. In 2006, Dick became educational director of a Shawnee County resource program in which he established a virtual school for Shawnee County secondary at-risk students. He retired from this position to become headmaster of Topeka Collegiate School, helping the school to improve high academic standards and achieve financial stability. In 2011, he moved to his alma mater, Highland Park High School, as a math tutor. He initiated a credit recovery program and helped reduce failure for freshmen in required classes. This year, he's working full-time at Highland Park High School as a community and parent liaison to support students in reaching their full potential. So in reviewing Dick's long career in education, it's evident that he's been called upon many times to be a troubleshooter. It is also evident that he has been very successful in improving the education of thousands of students in Topeka and the Lawrence communities. In addition to his 16 years as a teacher, coach, and administrator at Topeka High School, he has also supported the school as a member of the Topeka High School Historical Society Board of Directors. Dick is married to Martha, who served as the Topeka High School nurse for many years. He has 2 daughters, Leslie and Jody, both Topeka High School graduates, and 4 grandchildren, Maddie, Brandon, Simon, and Emerson. Dr. Wiley, it's my honor and privilege to recognize Dick Patterson for the Topeka High School Distinguished Staff Award.
It's a great honor to be here today, and I really want to recognize my family for all the support they've given me through the years. It's a great honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at Topeka High School. Incredible. I've been in school since I was 5 years old. I've had 50 years of teaching experience with duties so well defined in many types of schools, public, private, rural, urban. I've worked with many students, elementary through higher education. I've had the opportunity to be in the classroom, the locker room, administrative offices. Being an educator connects you to the larger community in a unique way. Topeka High School is a prime example of a school that connects to the larger community, and in turn, the community connects to the school. Tom Williamson, whose photo's in the beginning of the library here, showed great leadership convincing Topeka to build $1 million high school in 1928. The film of the construction workers, if you've seen it, shows them coming to work with ties and dress shirts. They took great pride in what they were doing. Definitely the structure has had a huge part in what makes this school special. But the real heart of the school lies in the students, the staff, and the parents within the great building. As Tuck Duncan said when he was the chairman of the Board of Education, he said, "How Topeka High School goes is how Topeka goes." What is going on inside the school, the pulse, what is going on in the community and the world. Topeka High has always been more than just a school, it's an experience. There are many examples of pride expressed over the years. Let me just share a couple of them. 1970, at the height of the racial tension and violence in Topeka and around the world, my math class developed a slogan called "Stop Distorting, Start Supporting." They took those posters downtown, put them in the business windows to lead the way this community to go through some hard times and stop the labeling and show a school united. There's been 2 fires in the school. One of them was in the 1970s, and the community all gathered together, closed the school for a couple of days. The community came and scrubbed the walls and opened the school up again for the students. A second fire in 2010, just a few years ago, word went around the world through the social media in Japan. The front lawn of the school was filled with people who came to school to see how the condition of the school was going to be. When the chandelier dropped in the main auditorium, students rallied, picked up the pieces, and all the pieces, put them together, and with the Degginger Foundry, worked side by side with him to remold and rebuild the chandelier. One day, the 501 maintenance crew was dispatched to come and cut down the flagpole because it was not safe. It had woodpecker holes in it. Westar Energy came to its rescue, saved the pole, and saved the flagpole, which has been mentioned before, is the yard arm off of USS Constitution. After I'd been here as associate principal, Ed Love and Doug Wallace came to us and talked to us about starting the Historical Society. It was established by Ed Love, Doug Wallace, John Valley, and Terry Bond, with an office that he mentioned, and a small office, copy machine, and mailing rights on our bulk mail system. Today, the Historical Society, all its donations from all of us, is responsible for saving the character and the dream of Mr. Williamson. The importance to protect this beautiful school carried over to all the students. When I see former students and staff members now, they say it was diversity in the student body that they love the most. They take great pride in their school and its Historical Society, which has kept its beautiful eye over this beautiful place. It's a great honor to be inducted into this Hall of Fame, Staff Hall of Fame. I've been in school since I was 5 years old. I've had over 50 years of teaching experience in many types of schools. And I want to thank you all for being here today, and congratulations to everyone else. Thank you very much.
let's just take a moment and give everybody another round of applause for being inducted. Now, if you'll please stand and join the madrigals in the Topeka High School song. Thank you. It's amazing how fast those words kind of come back to you, after a while. This concludes the ceremony for today. Thank you very much for coming, and please join us for an informal reception, Center Hall, second floor, right between the Hall of Fame room and the office for the Historical Society. Thank you very much.